Yeah, this is also not a new allegation that there is a certain idea of misuse for political gains of these centrally sponsored schemes. So I guess we're going to see them around for a while. Now, since you just brought up Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman, I wanted to come back to the Corona pandemic. And another thing that she had announced in the recent budget was an additional centrally sponsored scheme in the health sector. So, in addition to the already existing National Health Mission, there was one program, one scheme that sounded very interesting, which I would like to know from you now. Do you think that this will have a positive impact on the development of the health sector in India?
Yes, the finance minister has announced one centrally sponsored scheme in the health sector, which is called Pradhan Mantri Atmanirbhar Swasth Bharat Yojana, roughly translated as Self-Reliant Healthy India Scheme. It has been launched as a centrally sponsored scheme, which means it will be co-funded by the center and the states. Although central schemes are fully funded by the center, are called central sector schemes. So these are two types of schemes: centrally sponsored scheme and central sector schemes. These central sector schemes are fully funded by the center. So these type of schemes can play an important role in fulfilling the national priorities. However, as far as these centrally sponsored schemes are concerned, which have rigid one-size-fits-all design and put pressure on states to contribute to those schemes, I think these are always a bad idea. This is especially true when it comes to sectors like health, where there can be region-specific needs and where a lack of flexibility can have vast negative consequences. During the pandemic, we have seen how the stringent guidelines and conditionalities attached to centrally sponsored schemes, including the flagship scheme like the National Health Mission, proved counterproductive. One problematic feature of these centrally sponsored schemes is that central government does not release its share unless states have spent their own share and followed the conditions exactly as stipulated in the design of the scheme. The central departments check whether the detailed guidelines were followed or not before releasing the funds. This reduces states' autonomy and leaves no scope for innovation or even slight modification of schemes to suit their local needs. And I would like to quote the Planning Commission in this, which stated that the centrally sponsored schemes have been plagued by poor implementation, duplication, lack of convergence, and suboptimal outcomes. However, if the government considers centrally sponsored schemes in the area of health as indispensable, then, as the 15th Finance Commission has suggested, they should be flexible enough to allow states to adapt and innovate. Otherwise, the best way is to provide unconditional grants or health sector specific grants and let the states design their individual health promotion programs that suit their community requirements.
It is quite a criticism on that scheme. Is it, do I see it correctly, that this would be, again, in violation with the recommendation of the 15th Finance Commission? Or let me ask the other way around, because the suggestion you just made at the end, where you had argued for the states having a high responsibility in the drafting of the sector-specific schemes, would that be in line with the recommendations of the 15th Finance Commission?
In fact, in the budget for the current financial year, the government has so far not considered the Finance Commission's recommendations on sector-specific grants to support health, education, agriculture, maintenance of roads, etc. Although this is an unprecedented move, yet the chairman of the Finance Commission, 15th Finance Commission, has said in a recent interview that the government's stand is reasonable in view of the fiscal pressures that the central government is facing. Here, it is also important to mention that while the central government has not accepted the Finance Commission recommendations for sector-specific grants and state-specific grants, it has accepted recommendations for revenue deficit grants and grants for local governments and grants for disaster management. Anyway, it is clear that the health sector grant aggregating to around 317 billions to state has not been accepted. Similarly, state-specific grants for health amounting to around 48 billions have also not been accepted. Perhaps the idea is to use the available funds to finance the centrally sponsored scheme in the health center. So, however, the 15th Finance Commission has also provided for yet another component of grants for health sector, aggregating to around 700 billions, which is tagged to local government grants. So at least the local governments will get some grants for improving health infrastructure and health outcomes.